Hi everyone, I'm going to talk to you about the impact to the environment, which I think is the most exciting aspect of this entire product. And we'll start with the process. If you guys remember photosynthesis, yeah, that little thing that we learned about way back in high school, where plants take the CO2 that we have and they turn it into oxygen, and it's really exciting. That's kind of what we're going for here. CO2 is absorbed during the photosynthesis process when algae is grown for biodiesel. There are not any new CO2 emissions being introduced to the atmosphere, which is great. So, as you can see from the presentation, the CO2 gets taken by the algae and it gets converted into, well, sugar actually, but that's something we'll talk about later. So to kind of further illustrate how big of a deal this actually is, look at this illustration I have presented. And the algae takes two main ingredients, it's the sun and the CO2 from the technology that we already have, whether it be a car, plant, factories, what have you. And there's oil that's extracted from that algae as a byproduct of what it produces. The oil is then sent into biodiesel production to actually create the renewable fuel that we will use in our existing cars, trucks, houses, factories, etc. And as you can see, this turns into a renewable energy loop, which is really exciting. Some other environmental benefits include it can be grown on water sources, including sewage and wastewater. So it cleans up those water sources and actually uses the pollution as a source of food for it. There's higher yields compared to other biofuels such as corn. With less of a footprint, you can get a lot more yield with a smaller area. And it also does not compete with land that's used for agriculture. So it can be used on land that is considered not farmable or not grazable for cattle. There are some potential cons for it. It is the very high investment cost since it is a brand new technology. The existing technological conversion would take an awful lot, so converting your car to use biodiesel is kind of a difficult process. And there is a higher requirement for basic ingredients such as it needs CO2, it needs water, and it needs land to use. However, some of my rebuttals for these: continued research means lowering both the initial cost and the operating cost for the technology. We can start with new technology and not worry about the existing technology, which is fine because all of our new stuff has shorter life cycles anyway. And continued research will create more efficiency in the process, so the requirements for the basic ingredients will go down and we'll have higher yields. The bottom line is this is a renewable energy source that is going to sustain us for a lot longer than fossil fuels will.